Thank you for everybody coming here today. You know, it was definitely a very convenient location with an incredible event that we had. It's probably my favorite event of the year. It was my beautiful wife's great idea to want to host it here. You know, we've had a lot of great experiences at the mill. We of our 3 kids' baptisms, 2 of them we actually had the brunches here afterwards. So absolutely love it. So much delicious ice cream for a great cause across the street. So thank you for all being here today. And also really thank you to all my volunteers. I absolutely could not do this without my volunteers, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I want to give you a little background on me. So I'm Mike Palermo, and I grew up in a historic town. So when I was working up in Alpharetta and renting up in Alpharetta, I absolutely fell in love with Roswell. I fell in love with the parks, the river, the history, these incredible neighborhoods, really fun downtown. And so was so happy to get to buy a home in Roswell and raise a family in Roswell. With that, 4 years ago I saw there were some things that were going on that didn't seem like it was for the best long-term interest of all the people in Roswell. And I really came on wanting to make sure to really be that voice and to make sure to fight for action on what's needed for the best long-term growth and redevelopment to make sure it's all being done right. Really smart development instead of just any development. And so as I look back and I look at the things that have really changed since then, you know, I can certainly point out that I have a lot less hair than I did 4 years ago. I can also point out that exactly 4 years ago I had 1 beautiful child. I now have 3 beautiful children. So those are definitely some great changes. And also some things I'm really proud of that I really fought for is our suburban residential areas, really are our neighborhoods. 4 years ago, you could come in and build high density in any neighborhood all over the city. So I was really able to really lead that change to make sure that actually now that's not the case, and high density is going to stay really where it should in our commercial corridors, in our districts that we want to have that activity and that vibrancy instead of just in any neighborhood. So that's something I was very proud to have fought for. Also, what we've seen is that think of mixed-use zone properties. Mixed-use zone properties, examples of that include Swallow at the Hollow, Greenwoods, down going south on Highway 9 you have what's called Canopy, as well as you have where Mansell meets Holcomb Bridge. These are all mixed-use zone properties that could have been some good destinations, had kept really some vibrancy, that were turned into 100% townhome developments. I was able to really lead and fight for a change where we're going forward. Any mixed-use zone property does need to get really a public process and input and approval from council. So just again, wanting to make sure that we're really fighting for our tax base and creating destinations, and that's an example of how I want to see us do it. Another change I was very happy and proud to have fought for is on our commercial corridors. Developers now need to build wider sidewalks. So if they're gonna do a development on a commercial corridor, there needs to be a wider sidewalk to really encourage more walkability and really more activity in the area. And that was something I was very, very proud of. What I've also done as well, transparency is crucial for me. There was interest in moving committee meetings to be during when the average Roswell resident is at work. And that goes against, I think, the whole purpose of us doing it, and the great improvement we did of we added live stream. You can actually watch any meeting going on there, but if it's during our average work hours, how is the average person supposed to watch that live stream? So that was something I was very proud to have fought for. So as I really look at, I've accomplished a lot. I'm so appreciative for you all giving me the opportunity to do that, but I look at what's important to me now. Why am I rerunning? Really the number one reason is it comes down to balance. I think it's absolutely crucial that really Roswell residents feel they're being represented. And I get very concerned when you have, so there's six city council members on full council. And so when you have 3 city council members that are locked in step with each other, and they're supporting 3 different people in this race, to have 6 people that all have the same beliefs, my concern from what I've witnessed and what I've fought for to be for compromises, that opportunity goes away. So to bring issues to light, to look for better solutions, to really push for a better plan, it becomes a lot less likely when you have 6 people that all think the exact same way, versus having really a different voice with the ability to really represent Roswell. So I do have a voice where I truly believe that what I've been fighting for to make more strategic development and more smarter planning is what's important, and I want to continue to fight for that. One example where that's related to, something that's important to me is I am opposed to pay-to-play zoning. I absolutely understand that a resident or a developer can give money to a city council member. I understand that. A city council member has the ability to accept or deny that money. I personally choose to deny it. Someone else has the right to accept that. I understand that. What I strongly believe is, if as a council member, I accept money from a development interest, and they are up in front of council requesting something they personally profit from, I personally believe that that council member should recuse themselves from the vote. I really appreciate that, and I want to actually remind all of you that you absolutely have the right to disagree with me on this issue, as anybody can, because what I believe is we can't always agree on everything, but it's really key that the council member reports to you. Me, I personally report to all of you. I absolutely owe you an explanation at all times of my thought process, and to make sure you know what I mean. So again, I absolutely appreciate the support for my pay-to-play ordinance. I have a petition here for any of you that would like to sign it. I have it online on my Mike Palermo page. I also have it here. But why am I bringing this up right now? Because currently we have 3 council members that are up for re-election that have all publicly stated that they are opposed to this. They feel they should continue to be able to take money from development interest and then vote for their projects. And then so when you have a council member in each post that is supported by them and their same donors, I think that's concerning to me. So again, as somebody different, as somebody that's able to be loud and to fight for you, I hope you give me the opportunity to fight for this as well as I fight for everything else. And again, with those fights, it leads to a lot of compromise. Again, I think there's a reason why we have 6 council members and not just a single one, because it's the right thing to have multiple people on there that have different views that are going to make sure to listen to the residents and fight. So with that, I'm just here really asking for your vote, asking for your support as I do launch this re-election campaign. And a couple other things I do want to show, although there's absolutely a lot I'm up against, there'll be a lot of money going against me to really get me out of here. So I'm going to rely on all volunteers and all residents to really get my message out. But I do want to actually talk about some good things going on and some more granular items that I'm really proud of. The hotel. So in downtown Roswell, we have the hotel. I was very proud to support that. And with that, what happened is anytime there's a development, a rezoning, conditional use, anything like that, staff gives a long list of recommended conditions. Well, one of those conditions dealt with requiring the hotel developer to add additional lanes. And that was something that gave me concerns. It gave a number of different residents that spoke up having concerns as well. Is that going to decrease the walkability right there, add some different dangers and speed? So that was a motion, that was a part of the motion I did not include. I said that is not something I want to require. I don't want to burden this development that's going to have some positive things. It's going to bring more individuals here that can support our downtown. It's going to add additional parking. I think we absolutely still need to do more about parking. The city, we have started to rent more and more lots. I think that is absolutely just a start and not the end where we need to get. But again, this hotel will also bring additional parking. The one requirement that I did add to the motion was I required they build an 8-foot sidewalk on Magnolia to really spur that increased walkability. That was something that the developers supported. That was something that was unanimous in the vote. So that's a granular aspect. Also really excited around Roswell has what's becoming a very well-known organic farm. And so when that came up for a vote, there were actually some council members that were thinking we should add some different restrictions around the animals and some of the things growing. And I said, look, they're taking a gamble. They're creating an organic farm here, and I'm not about adding some different restrictions that are gonna lessen their chances of really making it. So the one thing I did add as a condition is it was unrelated to their farming, and what they want to do is I just said they could not build cell phone towers there. Because anybody that knows the agriculture zoning, you are allowed to immediately just go ahead and build cell phone towers. So that was something that I added there. So those are some different things. And the last thing I want to mention before I take a 30-second break and open it up to Q&A, the last thing I want to mention is I think a lot of this really comes down to planning. I was mentioning in an earlier conversation around, I think Alpharetta is actually doing some great things up there. I think Roswell has a lot of unique strengths that Alpharetta doesn't. We have our parks, we have our river, we have our history, but Alpharetta has been doing some great things. And you know what? I don't think it's luck, and that's what I'm witnessing. Technically, they did have more green space. That is easier to redevelop. That is luck. I get that. But I'm not one to play the victim, and I want to look at what else is going into it. It's planning. So in Alpharetta, they have a lot of office zone properties where large apartment developers have been requested to build apartment developments. And Alpharetta City Council has been saying no. Our intention, our vision is that these areas, we need office and we want to continue to grow office. In Roswell, we have office zone properties that the majority of this council has decided they would rezone away from office. And a recent example was to be mixed use, which was 96% residential, mainly multifamily buildings, townhomes, and then just a small amount of commercial to call mixed use. I think that's an example where Alpharetta has been doing better planning than us. Same thing, I mentioned mixed use earlier. So with mixed use, Alpharetta, for their large parcels, their large properties, they actually require minimums of certain percentages, and they really dictate making sure their mixed-use properties are destinations. In Roswell, we don't have that. That is where, through a compromise, I was able to at least get townhomes to be conditional use. But in using that example, Avalon, obviously a much larger property, but that being said, they had their requirements on how they do mixed use. And in fact, if you look back, I remember seeing a statistic about a year or two ago. I saw it, so it might be a little rusty now. But in a 10-year period in Metro Atlanta, that was the one spec office built in Metro Atlanta area. Why was it built? Because basically the Alpharetta City Council said, if you want to build these 250 apartments, you have to build this office. It worked out really well because they brought in Microsoft, but they didn't have Microsoft lined up when they, at the beginning. So again, it all comes down to planning. I have the background around community development. I've been able to learn from so many residents and so many in the city. If you give me the opportunity, I will continue to fight for you, continue to be that different voice, and just make sure that there continues to be some balance on council. So again, thank you all for coming, and please, again, the competition is to be very well funded. I really, absolutely need to do the same. Any contributions that you give, even including the very large and generous one that Peter just offered, which I am very surprised about and really appreciate, I'm gonna put more into the campaign. So anything I get, I will personally put in more. I am fully invested. I have 3 young children that are gonna really depend on the decisions made for decades to come. So again, contributions, yard signs, please let me put a yard sign in, and meet and greets in your neighborhood. So again, thank you everybody. Really appreciate it tonight.